Hey there, Blockheads. Taylor Martin from Pewaukee Lake Sailing School. We're here today in beautiful Pewaukee, Wisconsin, taking a look at this upside-down Opti. We're going to talk a little bit today about how you remove this oxidization or the chalkiness that shows up on your hull after a while as the UV rays from the sun break it down. Got a couple of ways we're going to do that. Our first step is going to be using a rubbing compound here, and then we're going to move on to this McLube Hull Coat Speed Polish. It's a lot like other wax products that you might use on your boat, a little bit more environmentally friendly, a little bit longer lasting. You might have heard about some steps before this. If your hull is in really bad shape, you can wet sand a little bit. We're just looking at removing this chalky layer, the breaking down of the gel coat by the UV from the sun. Before we do any of that, we got to wash this boat really well so we're not rubbing in any of this pollen, gravel, salt, seaweed, anything else from your day of sailing. We're going to start out with a little bit of this deck cleaner here and getting the boat nice and wet first. A little bit goes a long way with any soap that you're using, and a lot of elbow grease as we go along. So we're going to start a little wet on the boat. And we're just going to focus on the bottom of the boat here today because that's where we're going to be polishing. And we're going to start a little soap. And then we're going to work our scrub brush. And get the bottom of the boat where you're going to be polishing it nice and clean, getting as much off as you can. All right, Blockheads, we're ready for the next step here, and that's using a little bit of this rubbing compound to polish out some of these micro scratches before we put on this protective coat of the McLube Hull Coat here. Rubbing compound you can apply using a buffer or a rag here. You can see it's really thick stuff. It's actually got a little bit of abrasive in it that allows it to polish out these scratches. And so we're going to go ahead and apply a nice circular pattern here. And again, a little bit goes a long way. We should be able to use most of this, get about half of this square done here. Got a little square taped off here so you guys can really see the difference that a little bit of polish and a little bit of rubbing compound makes compared to the whole hull. Of course, you guys would do your whole hulls instead of a little square like this. It is important that you put this stuff on not in direct sunlight because it dries on as you apply it, and having a little bit of liquid from the rubbing compound helps prevent more scratching on the boat. It's actually part of the polishing process. So we've got a good bit on there. And we're going to continue applying in a nice circular pattern here over the whole square. And you guys can do this to your heart's content. We're going to go ahead and make one more pass here with it before we take a clean rag or another section of this rag and wipe it off. Make sure we do this boat justice here. Again, a little bit of elbow grease goes a long way in making your boat fast. So once you feel like you've done enough rubbing compound here and you've gone over your whole boat, I would encourage you to only do a small section at a time so that you're not letting it dry out for too long, because you do have to wipe it off before you put on this next step of wax. So we're going to go ahead and find a clean part of this cloth here and wipe it off. We want to get all of this built up stuff on. So using that same kind of method in the circular pattern to get this rubbing compound off here. I'll rotate this rag a lot so that we're not continuing to rub it in. We're actually taking it off. I've got another clean rag here that will go ahead and take one more pass. All right, Blockheads, we've rubbed the rubbing compound on and off here, and we have a nice clean surface, a couple of clean rags to start out with. We're going to go ahead and put this McLube Hull Coat on. Again, a wax-like product that helps protect and give a nice, slick, smooth finish to your rubbing job. And so again, a little bit goes a long way. We're going to go ahead and put a little bit of this rubbing or a little bit of wax hull coat on a rag here. Cool thing about this product is that a lot of waxes you have to actually leave on, and this one you're You're going to go ahead and polish it on and just continue and polish it right off as you go here. And it does recommend that you put a couple of coats on back to back. And so we're going to go ahead and do that here as we get through this whole square. And polish it on and keep rubbing until it comes right off. I can already tell a difference here. I can see the sun reflecting off of this surface in a way that it isn't anywhere else on the boat. And a nice smooth finish on this old boat. And then I've got this cloth pretty saturated here, so I'm going to go ahead and polish this off with a drier rag. So I'm not continuing to rub more of this speed polish in. All right, and there we have it. We've got our two-step process here, rubbing compound and then the McLube hull coat on there. We're going to go ahead and pull this tape off and see if we can really see a difference between polished and the unpolished parts of the hull. Oh yeah, you can really see a difference. Got a little bit of residue here from the tape. Take that residue off. You can see a nice line here. It's been polished and not. Especially down here, you can really see the sun reflecting off of the hull here and not at all over here, and really even feel a difference, not just see the difference. There you have it. If you take the time to spend polishing your entire boat and not just one little square, it's going to really make a difference in how quickly your boat moves through the water.